Nerds? Welcome back to the Next Gen Nerd Podcast. I'm your host, CJ, the Next Gen Nerd himself. Glad to have you today as we discuss a topic that I have been trying to get scheduled for a long time. But if you've ever played Dungeons & Dragons, if you've ever had a podcast, if you've ever had to have schedules work, you know that sometimes that's a whole job in itself. But we did it. We did it. We finally are getting to talk about one of my favorite games of all time, the one that starts with Good Morning Chrono Trigger, the 1995 JRPG that I still play today. Me and my boy Matt, we've been best friends for like 36 years. We finally got to sit down and talk about this game, and that's the conversation we're having today. We're looking at why it's a great game, why you should play that game. It's going to be a good conversation. So, hope you're looking forward to that. Chrono Trigger, so excited to be able to talk about that game, and that interview's coming soon. But first, before we jump into that, some nerdy recommendations. Now, I've been trying to have them tie into the theme, but Chrono Trigger stands above the rest, and so rather than give something that is on theme with Chrono Trigger, I wanted to give something that was of the same year as Chrono Trigger. So I've got several recommendations for you, things that you can play that also came out in 1995, things that you can watch that came out in 1995, things that you can read that came out in 1995. That's our theme today, 1995. So let's start with games that you can play that came out in 1995, or actually games that came out in 95. And it was difficult to narrow these down to three. So I'm going to give you a bunch, and you can kind of do what you want to do. So first, which is actually really cool right now. In 1995, a lot of games for the Virtual Boy came out, and so I'm specifically picking Wario Land. It was probably my favorite on the Virtual Boy. I used to have the Virtual Boy, and if you are listening to this right now, February of 2026, you can currently buy a Virtual Boy set, a Virtual Boy controller that connects to the Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch 2. I am this close to dropping $100 and getting this headset so I could get myself a headache again like I used to get playing this game. I remember that Mario Tennis was a lot of fun, and so I'm excited to maybe pick this up because I really enjoyed these games. And from what I hear, they're still fun to play. I saw a review where somebody was saying that it was all the same kind of stuff, right? Like if you have to hunch over, you have to lean, it's not as fun because it hurts your neck. But I've got an adjustable desk, so I can put it wherever I need to put it to make it comfortable. I'm sure there probably is still the headache-inducing, cross-eyed vision that the original had, but yeah, so that one came out in 1995. Also, NBA Jam, if you know me now, like if I work with you, or if you are a student at Lake Butler Middle School, you probably like, Mr. Burrows doesn't like any sports, but I played a lot of, I played sports growing up, I did, not like organized a whole lot, but playing basketball in the backyard, yes please. But there are several really good sports games in that era, NBA Jam being at the top. The number of phrases that I still will utter playing basketball that come from that game, it's just so many. If I had an arcade machine, I would love to have, I do have an arcade machine, and actually I think this game may be on that arcade machine. I've got to boot it up and see, but like if I had to have like a single game arcade machine, NBA Jam would be a lot of fun to have. So yeah, so NBA Jam also came out in 1995. MechWarrior 2, I played the wheels off of that game, like setting up a local area network and all your sweaty buddies that smell like pizza, Doritos, and Mountain Dew, just kind of hanging out in the place and building custom build mechs and playing. Oh, we had so much fun playing MechWarrior 2. Yeah, that one was a good one. 1995, a great year. And finally, the last one I have on here is Warcraft 2. Now, you may say Warcraft 2 came out in 96, but it was actually released in December, late December of 1995. And another game that we played a lot of, Warcraft 2, which paved the way for StarCraft, which is one of my all-time favorite games. If you want to play StarCraft now, let me know. We will play. I've got it on Blizzard. We'll play soon. I really enjoy StarCraft. I'm not nearly as good as so many people, but I'll have fun playing it. So there's some things that you can play that are from 1995. So again, Virtual Boy's Wario Land. You can get the adapter right now to play that. NBA Jam. I'm sure you can find that somewhere. MechWarrior 2. There's free MechWarrior games you can play right now. And Warcraft 2 you can also get on Battle.net for like $9. So there's some games you can play. Things to watch. There are so many things. And I was looking at movies, and some of these are terrible. So let you know, I know they're terrible. but I still love them. And if they were to come on, I would watch them if for nothing else to laugh at them. But I got a whole bunch here. So let's start with some of the really bad ones. Let's start with the worst one that's on this list, and we'll kind of go from there. Johnny Mnemonic with Keanu Reeves. So bad. I remember my dad like, hey, you should watch this. It's terrible. And he wasn't wrong. It's bad, but it's funny bad, okay? Dolph Lundgren plays some weird Bible character who wants to fight with a sword. Yeah. Johnny Mnemonic, he uses his brain as a hard drive, and it has to have weird pictures to cue his brain to get. It's super weird. He opens up files from the internet like this. I don't know, whatever. That was terrible. Waterworld, another one that's terrible that I'll be like, yes, I want to watch Waterworld. We've got the original Mortal Kombat movie. We've got Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came out that year. Batman Forever. I love Batman Forever. I really do. I think Jim Carrey's Riddler is fantastic. Besides the weird lisp that Val Kilmer has when he says, do you want to go to the Thurketh? Like he said Thurketh. But besides that, I enjoy Val Kilmer. It was not the worst Batman movie, but that one came out then. Congo is another one I was recently, I was misquoting. I was like, Coco wants banana. Coco, banana, 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 banana. But that's Congo with Crazy Apes. It's a good one. So those are some like terrible movies that came out in 95. Here's some great ones that came out in 95. Number one, Toy Story. The movie Toy Story is used as a marking point for Generation Y, the millennials, the Pixar generation starting in 1995. So Toy Story, excellent one. The Goofy movie, I'll watch that one over and over and over again. I mean, let's turn it on now. Great soundtrack, excellent movie. I want to be like Goofy. GoldenEye, the resurgence of James Bond. Probably one of my favorite James Bond movies was GoldenEye. You had the tie-in with the game GoldenEye. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Jumanji, we just watched with the kids the Rock and Kevin Hart Jumanji movie. Jumanji's a fantastic movie. Heavyweights, maybe not a fantastic movie in line with the rest of these, but still a fun one with Ben Stiller and Fat Camp. Braveheart came out that year. Rumble in the Bronx came out that year. A lot of great movies in 1995. Just do that search on Roku or on Amazon or wherever and be like, let's watch a 1995 movie. It's going to be a plus. When it came to reading, I had to do a little bit more of a stretch. Didn't read nearly as many books from 1995 as I watched movies from 1995. But that's okay. Here's some for you to check out. Number one, Lost World came out in 1995. If you have watched the Jurassic Park movies, the books are not like the movies. There are some similarities, of course, because that is the source material, but it was much more like journals that were collected. So if you have read The Martian, or if you have read World War Z, like it's more of that feel of like a journal of what's going on. But definitely, I loved both the books, Jurassic Park and Lost World. If you are a big fan of dinosaurs and a big fan of those movies, they're worth checking out. Also, the Dark Elf trilogy. Technically, Exile, Sojourn, and Homeland didn't come out in 95, but the bundled collection, which I have a copy of, did come out in 1995 and tells those stories. And R.A. Salvatore's books there, I love those books, and still went back and reread them, I think like a year ago, 2 years ago. Want my kids to read them, but they don't want to read them because they say they're old. They are 30 years old plus. So there's that. So I found Wayside School came up. Wayside School is one of those books that I remember reading in elementary school, but I could never remember what the name of the book was. But I just remembered bits and pieces of it. So when I saw that on this list of like 100 books that came out in 95, I was like, is that it? And it is. It's where like the crazy classroom is on the 19th story, but there is no 19th story. And you've got characters like BB Gun and Ray Gun, and all kinds of weird hijinks happen, and the kids get lost. Anyways, Wayside School. Check it out. And then the last two are some Christian books. Jesus Freaks, collected stories that DC Talk put out looking at people who were just on fire for Jesus in the mid-90s. Came out that year, and so did Shepherding a Child's Heart, which was a textbook I had to buy and read for my counseling class that I took when I was in seminary. Tripp. I didn't write down the author, but I think it's Tripp. Tripp is the guy who wrote that one. So there you go. There are some things you can play, things you can watch, things you can read that came out in 1995. And so hopefully you'll get a chance to check those out. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the interview. And so let's get nerdy. What's up, nerds? Like I mentioned at the top of the show, I am here with one of my oldest friends, and not because he's not old, but we are both old. And I'm here with my buddy Matt. My kids call him Uncle Matt. He's the only person besides family that was at our wedding party because way back in kindergarten, he told me my Ninja Turtles look like snowmen, and he goes, "Let me show you how to draw actual Ninja Turtles." And we have been friends ever since. And so I'm glad to finally get him on the show. And so Matt, welcome in, man.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed the opportunity to be on this show.
I was tempted to call you by your call sign from when we thought we were the coolest people ever with Nerd Wars and call you Cowboy. Cowboy.
Nerd Wars.
Man, Nerd Wars, good times. Good times.
Yes.
If we were talking, so Matt's wife and daughter at this ballet intensive thing, and there's a possibility it could be like a long period of time, like weeks, that they would be like participating in this. And I was like, I don't know what I would want to do for weeks. If we had weeks of that Nerd Wars excitement, that would, I mean, that like, you know, if we went from airsoft to console games, that'd be fun. I mean, now I couldn't do it. I'd be so tired after like 2.5 hours of it. But then that would have been pretty exciting.
Yeah, so sleep was not as needed back then.
No, we would go to sleep. I remember. It wasn't this game. It was Rock and Roll Racers. We were playing.
Yes.
It was like 3 in the morning, and your mom came in, and we must have been laughing or giggling or something. And she was like, "Go to bed." And this is easily 3 in the morning. And I remember waking up 2 hours later, and you had turned it back on, and we're playing. And I was like, "Oh, I guess we're back playing again. 2 hours of sleep."
The light. It's the light started shining, I think. So it's like it's good to go.
It was both our signal that we had to go to bed, that the sun was coming up, and we needed to go, and also it's time to start playing again, I guess.
Yes.
So Matt, one of I like to ask 2 questions at the top of the show with the guests. One is, what is something that is like really life-giving for you right now that you go, man, Jesus is moving, Jesus is doing great things. I feel satisfied and accomplished because of these things. Like, what's something that's going on right now that you go, this right here is pretty cool right now?
That's such a good way of putting that question. Right off the top of my head, if you said that, it kind of changed what I was thinking, but definitely really enjoying church. Some of God kind of pushing me to step out of my comfort zone a lot more this past year, but being able to have a big part in the Sunday school and kind of go through the scriptures. But what I found, like talking about the life-giving part, is intent of trying to teach something or go through something. The amount of time I spend studying, the amount of time I dig in the Word and really think through concepts and Scripture has been unexpected, but like such a big help for me, and something I've been enjoying a lot doing that. And so that's one big area. Something else I've been enjoying is something more simple, but started Christmas, got some art supplies, so started drawing a little bit more. So hopefully continue on that. But that's something that I've always enjoyed doing too. So I definitely feel like just getting into scripture a lot more with a lot more intent this past year has been really, really good.
Very cool. Very cool. Zeke is taking art for the first time. He's in 6th grade, so he gets to pick his electives.
Nice.
And has really enjoyed it. And he's struck up a little friendship with the art teacher. And he was struggling with the human form, anatomy, those kind of things, right? And so she says, well, I've got some resources, but I need you to ask your dad if it's okay first. And so he comes and tells me that, and he goes, what do you think it is? I go, it's probably a bunch of naked people. It's probably what it is. And he goes, well, she would just give that to kids. I said, unless she had the parents' permission first. And he's like, I really hope it's not a bunch of naked people. And
I hope not, too.
So it was not.
Yeah.
It was almost naked people. So it was a man, and he had like the 1920s bathing suit, like little trunks.
Yes.
And it was
you can still see the form of the person.
Still see the form, and then it was and there's a female in like a swimsuit, right? There's that kind of look. And so she was like, she showed me like, is this okay, And I'm like, yeah. And so what Zeke thought was really cool, he was looking at. It had all kinds of things like the shoulder height should be this proportion to here, and like all the mathematical measurements. And I go, how cool is that God made us like that? That we can sit here and measure different pieces and go, well, it should look about like this. That it's not this random whatever, but like God made us semi-symmetrical, you know, like the ears should line up with the eyes and the nose should be like all those things that there's a math to
and
it.
for everybody, like be able to apply that and change a few little things and it fits the form perfect. That's really, really awesome. That's a good point.
Yep, it was really neat, really neat. Well, cool. Second question is this: we're going to talk about Chrono Trigger a lot, but what are some other things you go? I am a big nerd about this. I just recently rewatched Jacqueline Parrish's keynote from some LTN conferences, and she talks about nerds love things just to love things. Like there's nothing they're going to gain out of it, whatever else. It's just like, I just love this because I love this. And so what are some things that you go, man, I just love this because I love it. You know, like I'm not getting anything out of this. I just really enjoy absorbing, learning about, studying, all those things. Give me like 2 or 3 highlights that you go, these things.
Okay. Well, the not getting anything from it, that's the hard part. But
okay, I mean loosely you're not getting anything from it. I mean, you're doing it because you enjoy it, and there is definitely a benefit there of like, I receive this, but you know, I receive all kind of things. Because I mean, like our pursuit of Jesus, yes, we of course receive something there, but a lot of it is just for the enjoyment. You know, like we're not earning something by doing this. You know, we're doing it just because we have that enjoyment. So it's a loose definition.
Yeah, no, I like that. There's multiple things. Kind of nerding out on camera gear a lot. That's something I enjoy looking into. You're talking about like this week I've been looking at Hasselblad. It's medium format, 100 gig or 100 megabyte files and all that kind of stuff. And I will never own one. So there's the point. Yes. I'm like looking at all these stats and going through all these like different bodies. And these are like $10,000 cameras. I was say,
don't say it too loud around Pete. You never know. You say it too loud around Pete and it will be in a stocking. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a good point. But no, so yeah, actually, as you're saying, I'm like, actually, I do have something. So I'm just really enjoy watching like different creators and how they're using gear and things like that. It's just to be inspired by it. But got a new light off of eBay, so I'm excited about that to shoot some like dance portraits, and I've done a lot of basketball portraits recently. So that's something I'm kind of gearing up and studying and to do more of, because I really enjoy that. So that kind of falls into that area. And then the other one be just art. You mentioned it, like looking at Alex Ross, looking at some of his stuff, being inspired by the way he draws. But one thing I like about him is listening to him talk. He was pointing out like all the years of, like, let's say Superman, for example, being drawn over and over and over again, but you have the artist kind of pushing him forward. With him, he wanted to go back to the original, like almost strip away all the stuff that's going on and just go right. And so when you look at it, it has like a classical feel to it, but the drawings are just ridiculous. So he's an artist that I've always enjoyed looking at and kind of learning from, even though I'll never achieve probably his level by any means, but it's the way in which he goes about creating beautiful artwork and images has been inspiring. So that's something I'll probably play with a little bit more moving forward this year.
Nice. Speaking of Alex Ross, so I handed off my copy of Kingdom Come for you to read and take a look at.
Yes.
And I was talking to Todd Turner about it, and he was laughing. He said, "Did I ever tell you about one of my copies of Kingdom Come?" And he had gone to like a thrift store, like a book thrift store, and he'd gotten it was like several of the individual books broken down. So it was like, I think it's 4 books.
Okay.
And they were in a set, and he bought them for like $9. You know, it's like nothing. And he got them home, and they were all signed by Alex Ross. He was like, what? And so he was showing somebody who was very familiar with it, and he's like, no, that's legit. Like, those are legit signs. So he bought a set of Kingdom Come autographed by Alex Ross for like $9. So
that's so crazy.
When we do our episode on Kingdom Come, I'm going to see if I can get Todd Turner on, the three of us. And so when that happens, I want you prepared, having some of your art to show off, and him as well. He'll definitely show us some of his mosaics that he's working on and stuff. It'll be fun to get, especially with that book. That book is very. I was talking to Hector about it. Like, the art for me is so different from what I'm currently reading, right? Because it's done differently, and so it'll be fun to talk about that. So. Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, we're not here to talk about Alex Ross or Kingdom Come or any of those things. We're here to talk about Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger holds a special place in our hearts for so many reasons. But we were just discussing, the game came out in 1995, so we're looking at 30 years ago. And I've played through it so many times. You've played through it so many times. Now that I can play it on my phone because I've paid the $9 for the phone app or whatever else, like like
Same.
It's a game that I keep going back to. And so when we were looking at things discussing to talk about, this one obviously rose to the top. And so thinking about Chrono Trigger, why don't you start telling us kind of what Chrono Trigger is about, what the game's about, what the gameplay's like, and maybe why it's so special to you, like why it holds your interest 30 years later.
Okay, yeah. Now, Chrono Trigger, so Chrono, Greek for time. So, to spoil alert if you haven't seen this, but it's a time traveling game.
Again, the game's 30 years old. Like, if you've not done any research, it's your own dang fault at this point.
My kids are just getting into it, so we'll see how it goes. But it's. I still remember the first time I played it, but the idea that this is a RPG style game, that I love how it leads you through all kinds of different time periods, but the hero is kind of unexpected. He's not looking for adventure even. It's just kind of thrust into it. So the storytelling and the narrative that brings you through all this time, and then how you start to gain these friends and these companions, how it slowly unveils this, not even earth-shattering, but it's for the sake of humanity is at stake. And so it's figuring out how to conquer this really insurmountable evil, and just how it pulls you through it. So it's really good. But the gameplay is tied into the storytelling so beautifully. I think as you start to play it, I replayed it just this like a couple months ago, and the opening scene, I think, sets the tone so well, because you're sleeping and your mom comes in and she's like, get up, you're going to miss the fair. And so immediately, like, it just grabbed my attention, like, okay, this is something fun. This isn't like, okay, quick, the hordes are attacking, pick up your armor and let's go. And you're like thrust into it immediately. It kind of pulls you out of that sense of like adventure into like this, okay, exploration of something fun. And
you and your
go
wooden
down,
sword. You start with a wooden sword.
Wooden sword, yes. That's like also a good point, because you're a kid.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's the part of the hero. But I love how the storyline guides you through this adventure so well. You almost do exactly what the designers intended naturally. Like, it doesn't feel like a struggle to like, okay, know where to go. Mm-hmm. Even like in the fair, there's hundreds of things to do, not quite, but there's a lot of things to do. But it feels like a fair, like it feels like a big deal. And there's little games you can play. I spent hours just playing that stupid game where you pull back and then hit the bell.
Yes.
I'm talking about
to gain your 1 points. Yes, it's like I need to get 1,000 points here, so I need to do this 1,000 times so I can buy the sword that I shouldn't buy at this point. But they didn't think I was going to spend 14 hours playing this game to go ahead and unlock this sword.
Yes. Now that was the second playthrough. The first playthrough, you're just kind of caught up in everything.
Yes.
Oh. But I think the game mechanics of it, also the battle was, I think, very unique at the time, or at least in my memory, where like Final Fantasy, I loved it. It was a great game, but when you're walking through, it's almost like random attacks. Mm-hmm. This one, the enemies are in the environment that you can see or not see, but also it gives you two options. You can either just blaze through it, or if you're careful, you can play with stealth and kind of get through stuff in a lot of different areas of this game. And so I like that ability to kind of choose how you want to play a little bit. And for a game from '95, it really set the tone for a lot of future games, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you pointed out the whole stealth thing, because there's certain areas that you have to go back to over and over and over and over and over again, and you get to the point where you're like, if I sprint here, I don't have to fight any of these guys to get to where I need to go, because I'm just going back to talk to Frog. That's all I'm doing. But
that's exactly right.
Listen, I got to go to talk to Frog 1,000 times, and I thought it was now, but no, there's one more thing I got to do before he'll do. Yeah. So you and I read this article that went over like everything the artist intended to do in here in great detail, and so it was fun. I'm going to link it in the show notes. It's like 60 pages.
Yeah,
it's a dissertation on Chrono Trigger. But when you're talking about combat, one of the things they wanted is they didn't want you either to leave the world to go in battle. Like, it was there, and so like you would bump into them and you would fight there, rather than in a lot of other RPG games where like the screen gets wibbly wobbly and then you show up in the battle arena and you fight and then it goes wibbly wobbly and you're back in the story. That it's all there, so you're never removed from it. But no, it is a great story, and what's really fun, I think, with the reason why we replay it over and over again, is because the decisions that you make affect what happens later in the game in several ways. And so it's like, all right, let me see if I can get a perfect run. Let me see if I can, do these things. Is part of it, is trying to like perfect the run. But also the story is so rich that it's fun. The story is so rich to go back to and enjoy those bits and pieces and learn those things. And the music never gets boring. The music never gets boring, and so listening to it, it's like I have a playlist of music that's all instrumental and lo-fi, things like that, for when I'm teaching, and I need to have something in the background to keep them and the entire Chrono Trigger soundtrack is there, and I get excited when the boss battle music comes on. I'm like, or the motorbike race, that Johnny in his motorbike, and it's like, man, I just want to go.
Yes.
I just want to just go run through the halls right now because I know what's happening. So, so we played this game a bunch, and it's made by the same people that did Final Fantasy, and it is.
Yep.
It's just a great game. It's got a great story. The battles are not too hard, but you can grind to get to to make it super simple. If you want to drop hours upon hours, you can grind in the prehistoric era and go ahead and get all your techs unlocked and make sure you're good. Like, it was just one of those things, and it's a great game. If you've not played it, you should definitely find the phone app so you can play on your phone.
Highly recommended.
Highly recommend. So I mentioned that article. A couple things that I noticed. Or let's start with you. What highlights? What things you remember from the article? Anything that you're like, this is really neat when they talked about this? I've got several things that that the people had highlighted that they noticed in the article. So I was like, oh, that's neat. But anything that stick out to you about them creating the game?
I think just like an artist, so like I'll listen to classical music sometimes, but when I hear the music, it's beautiful. I love it. But when I hear somebody kind of explain what the artist was doing or thinking, it makes the music even better. Like, the more you understand it. So reading that article kind of unveiled so much behind the scenes. It just made everything better. Like, when I started really thinking back through the game and the intent of the artist, the music, like listening to the guy where he poured so much into it. And there's a moment where he lost everything on the hard drive, and like the stress and what he was going through, but how much he poured into it. He even said he had some dreams and he said I had to run to the computer to get it all down before. But to hear those type of stories and how they came together, just kind of. And then when you go back and listen to some music, you're like, oh man, you hear this guy's like real like heart and all of it, and how he carried through. Now, I'm not a musical person, but I love music. But I was listening to another YouTuber just talk about how he structured the music and in these moments. And he's like, if you notice these notes kind of going through, the intentionality of everything I think just makes it even better. Like the first time playing through it, I loved it, but it didn't distract me from the game, right? It just enhanced it. But now, like, I notice it, and it's even better, if that makes sense.
Yeah. it's kind of, I was thinking about like movies that have twists at the end, you know, and then like you watch it the second time and you're looking and seeing like all those things that happen that lead up to it, you know, so like A Beautiful Mind.
Yes.
And like then you're watching to see like all the times that the birds don't move when the fake kid's running through, you know, stuff like that. So I think it's the same thing playing through and going, oh, I didn't notice that before. And especially too, if you get the Game Boy, yes, the phone version of it, all the anime scenes that they had made for the PlayStation version get kind of spliced in there, so you can kind of get extra little tidbits.
Yes, you're right. I forgot about that.
And then they still show the animation from the Super Nintendo, but it still need to have those. One of the things I thought was interesting. This is not a Christian game. I'm not saying it's a Christian game, but what I thought was interesting is there were several pieces that it looks like that the creators of the game took, looking at, in their viewpoint, Christianity as mythology and incorporating possible pieces of that mythology in here. And again, this was what one person was thinking about looking at this, and they said, so basically Chrono's Jesus, and I'm like, Chrono is Jesus. So these were the things that they highlighted as to why Chrono is Jesus. So number one, Chrono only has a mom. Only has a mom. We never see the dad, so only has a mom. Chrono dies for everyone's sins, but then he comes back. There was that. Gaspar, Balthazar, and Melchior are names that they give to the three wise men in Catholic tradition, and each of them had a gift for Chrono that they each gave something to him.
That's actually stood out to me.
And they talked about how Mammon, the Mammon machine that he has to destroy, is the name of the son of Lucifer. And so it's like, there we go. Chrono is Jesus. Now, no. But I can see a creator going, oh, let's look at this mythology and we'll add this in here, whereas you and I go, it's not mythology, but thank you for that. But anyways, so with
Appreciate
those very loose ties, what are your thoughts on Chrono being Jesus?
It's one of those things. Belshazzar, I think I don't say it funny, but that's the name. When I heard it in the game, I'm like, oh, that's from the Bible. So I went back, and that's in Daniel 5. So the king of Babylon, but so you get some of those ties in there as well. But I think you actually nailed it. It's more of a tie back to one of the wise men. But I was reading somewhere, but they were talking about using these names also to enhance the believability of the history.
Oh, okay.
So when you hear these type of, even like Zeal, it sounds like Zion type of thing, even though it's not the same, but when you hear it, it almost feels like, this feels like it has weight and real history to it.
Yeah. And
so I thought that was a really clever way to do that. For me, I had to make Lavos sin itself. So when you think about how at the very beginning, the core, the root, it's there. And it's, even though you don't see it, like during the 1000 AD, everything's perfect. Yet he's growing stronger and stronger, right? And so you have this unbeknownst issue that's really going to destroy all of humanity. And so when I started thinking more in that context of it being like sin itself, and then kind of Jesus having to die, but it's the wrath of God versus the wrath of Satan. So that's where it doesn't quite match, but it felt like there's a lot more weight to it. Even when I started thinking about the queen, when she was Zeal itself, like as Zion, but almost like the anti-Zion. So you have like this perfect, the beacon on the hill, this everything is perfect, but yet all the power is from sin. Yeah. Yes. So it's like, for me, I saw these parallels in that sense. But even that, how it corrupted her more and more, but as she leaned more and more into it, it got worse and worse. And then kind of obviously Lavos in 1999, destroying everything. So you see how sin, even though you don't notice it, it comes to destroy it. Yeah. So that I don't know if that made sense.
No,
but
it does. It does. It was just funny. They also mentioned how Medina is a Middle Eastern city, and so they were talking about like the Crusades and the mystics versus the soldiers and that whole battle scene. And I was like, oh, okay. But is that also giving weight to that mythology. So, all right, back to the game itself, and not the meta version of us thinking through what these could possibly mean. Favorite part and least favorite part of the game. Favorite part, least favorite part of the game.
This is tough. Okay, favorite part, I didn't know if you want to think like, okay, music or, how they put the story.
Insert answer here.
Then I'm like, yeah, like there's 1,000 things I could say. But then I'm like, okay, what do I remember as a kid? Like that was like whoa moments. And so this is going to sound silly, but when you finally get to the mountain with Frog, and he holds up the sword, the massive moon.
Oh yeah.
And then like cuts it and splits. I still get chills thinking about that.
That's a good one.
That moment, but it's like a good arc for him too. It felt earned, right? So it's not just the moment; it's what leads up to it that I think is really, really good.
Nice. Story-wise, the trial and the escape from prison was always some of my favorite parts there. And again, that idea that the actions that you do carry on later then, and like, can we rig this trial? So like, it's a perfect innocent, can we do this? But also, I remember that is it the dragon machine, whatever that thing is that you fight at the end of there. Just I've got to attack this part before I attack this part before I attack this part to make this easier for me. Was fun. That was one of my favorites. All right, give me one more favorite part, and it could be small or large. The one I'm thinking of is fairly small. Okay, we'll see if we match.
Yeah, that was definitely the other one was going to be the trial.
Yes.
So for those same reasons, but trying to think of, there's so many good ones. I think it was honestly visually the one that another stunning moment for me was seeing Zeal for the first time, like seeing the floating rock, mountain, like the land masses, but then the way they animated the clouds and stuff in the background, really playing into their limits of the 16-bit. But when I was a kid, I just remember seeing that, whoa, this is awesome. Yeah.
And here
something small, but
listen, I thought you were gonna go with Lumineer. Lumineer was mine. I was like, that moment where you get Lumineer and the sound of it and everything.
Yes, absolutely. I think because I did so much,
yes,
I use that every time I could. Yeah,
it's a great spell. Great spell. Do you have a least favorite part? Do you go like this? Didn't really care for this, or?
There's not really a least favorite that I could think about. I really struggle with this one. And I think it was probably the dinosaur lair.
Yeah.
So that was one where I'm like, man, trying to get through the whole layer in 65 million BC.
Yes. Very frustrating because you kept slipping on little tiles and it'd take you 3 levels down and then you have to work your way back up. Yeah, no, I hear you on that one. I'm trying, I think.
Yes. So as a kid, that wrecked me for a little while.
I think for me, it was, there are certain moments where it's like, you've got to talk to this one person for the story to continue. And having to search and search and not really exactly sure where I was supposed to go to talk to this one person. And I remember and even still, I'll forget. I'll go to play the game and I'll forget. It's like, I've got to go to this place and talk to give this person this thing.
Beef jerky?
The beef jerky. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That exact part where you're trying to get the piece there. Yep. And so those little moments, but I mean, those are few and far between. But I remember being like, oh my gosh, can I skip this? What can I do to move around this?
Yeah.
A few moments were less than clear as far as what the steps are going to be, and those were a challenge.
I found those more difficult if there's a playthrough because you are thinking ahead and you skip a step. That's when I felt the most frustrated with those type of things. I'm like, what am I forgetting? But yeah.
So let's think about this. Are there any areas of the world or story that you would want to know more about or develop a sequel spin-off? The sequel to the game was Chrono Cross, and I tried playing it, and I did not understand the mechanics at all. And I was like, never mind. I'm not doing this. It was like, I can't even explain it.
Yeah.
I have it on the Xbox, and
I made it the first opening.
And it's like, what level attack do you want to do? I'm like, I have no idea what the levels of attacks are and how many it was like, I don't know. Never mind. I quit. I'll play something else. So a real spinoff for sequel. Are there any areas that you'd be like, man, I want to know more about these things?
Yeah, I mean, you could pick that's what's so great about this game. There's so many to choose from. But personally, the whole Ben and Cyrus, if you could develop a whole movie or game based off of those two, that would be pretty awesome. But they do flesh it out really well. Maybe that's the other problem with that. But that was my first thought, was Cyrus, kind of going through him.
So at the end of the game, you can pick any of 10 different ways to go and attack Lavos, different times to go and attack Lavos. I would love to be able to have a sequel that picks up depending on where you attacked Lavos. So like if you attacked Lavos at the beginning of his whatever, being able to see what the world looked like, trying to write that course, you know what I mean? Especially
absolutely
in the future. Like in the future, this is desolate wasteland, whatever else. But like being able to go there and see it, but Lavos never existed in this time. I went back and defeated him here. So that would be one. And then exploring.
It's good.
The end of time, that place that you go to with the portals, being able to explore what this is, what this means. It would be two areas that I would want to know more about.
That's really good. There's a scene at the very end with Robo and his girlfriend sitting on the mountain. It looks nice, and so it's like, okay, so it looks a lot different. But yeah, that's a really good point.
You said Robo's girlfriend. Explore. I was like, you mean Luca? And then I remembered, no, there was a girl robot. I forgot there was a girl robot.
Yes.
I was like, that's a really weird way to refer to Luca.
I should know this. It was Prometheus, and then
yes, and then, whatever her name was. Yes. I remember that one now. It was like girlfriend. Oh, yeah. So
it starts with an A or something, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay. I'm going to do this a little out of order because I want to hit this one first, and then we'll go into some more of the kind of the more personal questions, whatever. Strong point of the story and weak point of the story. I think for me, the weak point is, again, like I just mentioned, if you defeat Lavos back in time, seeing what things look like being able to see how the world had changed because you defeated him then, rather than, you know what I mean? Like wanting to see those things is one of those weak points. I would love to see more of that. But also we get to see a lot of Magus' story. I would want to see more because there's so many gaps in there, and especially after all this stuff happens, and again, depending on where you defeat him, if you're able to save Shala and all those things. So for me, that's a big weak point.
Yeah, that's good.
Strong point would be I love Frog's story and I love Robo's story. Like those are two, like I love all those pieces there. The rest of the characters, they're just icing. Like really, Frog and Robo are the cores of the team. They really are. Like I care about these characters more than any of the other characters. But those are, that's for me. Strong and weak points are those. Uh-oh, I lost you. Either that or you're really deep in thought. Oh, you're back. You're back. Okay. Ish.
Okay, there it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yours started glitching out a little bit on me.
Okay. Same. We're back.
I heard Frog and Robo being the core.
Yes. Those are the strong and weak points. That's for me. What about you?
Okay, well, actually very similar. But on that note, in the game, Matt was Chrono, CJ was always Frog, and Logan was always Robo. And so that's so
In
just
mine,
because you led right into
CJ
it.
was always Chrono, Matt was always Frog, and sorry, Logan, you were also Robo. Logan always
Robo
wanted
was
to be,
awesome.
Logan always wanted to be Magus, though. Always wanted to be Magus, and we're like, no, that's Dan. The weird loner guy in the corner, like, that's definitely Magus. You're Robo.
Dan. Yep.
Every time,
So awesome.
every time. And whoever we had a crush on at the moment, that's who Marl was. That was that one. Good stuff. So high points and low points of the story.
Okay, I would split it into two halves. I think the first half is so strong, because of all the reasons I mentioned earlier. Even like the reason you go back in time, then the cleverness of tying the family together, and even the pendant, like going all the way back, to the beginning. Those are such strong elements, and so when you're exploring it, you feel like you're achieving like the big mission, but yet it's like just the beginning. And so I feel like they wove that together so well. That first half, it's almost like nonstop in a good way. Like you don't feel like you have to stop and grind it at all. But then there's a certain point that kind of splits, and there's a little bit more of the side quest. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's not as smooth all the way to the end. It's still amazing, don't get me wrong, but it felt like that first half, like when getting Frog and going through and defeating Magus and all that, and then once you realize the truth of Lavos, then you have to almost like build up for it. And so I think it slows it down, if that makes sense. Still amazing. I wouldn't change it. There's no way to make that better, but that was what stood out to me. And this recent playthrough was how fun that first part is, because it's like that nonstop motion, and then kind of it's a little more tricky because I felt too weak the second half, and so I had to like build up a little bit more. Man, those mini Lavoses on those mountains.
Yes,
I thought I could just breeze through them. They kicked my butt. I'm like I don't remember it being this difficult.
Yes.
But getting the good combo of characters matters.
Yeah, that whole Death Mountain, I do remember that being really more frustrating on the phone than on the console. Trying to hide behind the trees, 100%. That was always that was rough. All right, so I think we have the same team. So who was your go-to team of characters there towards the end? Of course, at the beginning, sometimes you're limited because you only have 2 or 3 characters that you're kind of building this team with. But when you have everyone at your disposal, what was your go-to trio? Like who was it that was on your team?
Yeah, actually, they might not be the best, but it was the trio of the 3 of us, basically, with Robo, Frog, and Chrono.
They had that triple strike.
Like a tank.
They had that triple strike that they could use that was really helpful. And then Robo and Chrono had a ability to heal everybody. They had like little spin sword things. So they had several that were really helpful. And 2, you have them for the majority of the story, so you can build all their stuff up. By the time you get to the end, that's super helpful. Magus was neat because he had all the different magic techniques. He had that ability.
He didn't like blend in like whereas if you have Luca with not Aya, what's her name?
It was Isla, Ayla. Yeah.
Oh, it was Isla. Okay, so Isla and her like with the heat and fire, and then the strength, that was pretty awesome. There's I think that was one of the fun parts of this game, is exploring different combinations. Right. But then when you realize like these triple attacks were pretty devastating.
And thankfully,
I should know the best,
now.
but I don't actually know.
When we have internet now, and you would get these weird things like the green dream accessory, and you're like, what the heck is this for? And then like you could Google it, like, oh, I need these 3 to do. Yeah. There were several of those that you would get, and you're like, it says unlocks this triple strike. We're like, well, who is it for? Like, I don't even know who this goes with. But
I didn't know any of that back in the day.
None of that back in the day. You just had to like figure it out. Like, okay, I got another 14 hours to play to figure this out. Okay, so
when I was a kid.
So this is your least favorite question, and it was, we're doing a live action series or movie, and so let's go character by character. Who you put? So let's start with the lead, Chrono. Who did you pick for Chrono?
I was really, really struggling, and so
And none of these are kids.
What,
Like the game, you're kids, but it's like I don't have kid actors that can do this for this. So
well,
these are adult
who
versions.
plays this strong?
Yes.
I thought Tom Holland would be
Oh, that's a
interesting.
good one. Yeah,
Or
that's a good one.
because I think you could play off that
Yes.
character pretty well. But that was one of the recent ones that stood out. Maybe because he's so popular now, but
Yeah.
I could see him kind of fitting that.
My guy looks very similar to that. Taron Egerton was who I had picked, who's on Kingsman, and he's in a Robin Hood movie. He plays Robin Hood in a movie, and so very similar there. Generic white boy. That was what we were going for. Generic white boy who can do his own stunts.
Yep.
Okay, Frog. Who'd you pick for Frog?
Well, because I could not come up with anybody apart from because I was trying to imagine how he would be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because you think of him, my first thought was, I should have had it written down. I thought I remember the Golem guy. What's his name?
Yeah.
Just because of.
Oh my gosh, what is his name? I keep thinking
I
Peter
thought I had it written
Skarsgård,
down.
and it's not. Peter Jackson did that, but I can't remember his name. I know who you're talking about, and people are screaming at us because we can't remember. Andy Serkis. That was it.
Super famous now.
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis, yeah. And only because of his, if you were to kind of animate post CGI Frog's character, I think he could be, especially with some of the movements and because he did hop. So that was one of my, and I feel like voice acting, he's actually pretty deep, more than just Gollum.
Okay. For some reason, for me, Justice Smith, he plays one of the mage character on the Dungeons and Dragons movie, the new one, the one that always gets everything wrong. I pictured him as, I mean, he's had that noble feel, but also is a kid, and that's Frog's character. He was a squire. He wasn't actually a knight, but he took that mantle on, and so I kind of saw Justice Smith for that. Next was Robo. You and I picked the exact same person for Robo because there's only one person who we could ever think of that could ever play Robo. Who did you put for Robo?
Alan
Tudyk. Yes.
Alan Tudyk. Yeah, I almost said Turk, but that's not right. Tudyk.
Tudyk, he plays every other robot, so let's just have him play this robot too.
Yes.
Funny enough, we were going to watch iRobot today.
I saw a behind the scenes. Oh, go ahead.
Actually, we were going to watch iRobot today, and he played the robot in that one. He played Sonny in that movie. So, yeah, he's played every robot.
Did he really?
He did, yep. They actually, funny enough, they removed his name from the posters because that character was testing better than Will Smith's character. And so they're like, let's go ahead and just make sure we're highlighting Will Smith.
Have to tone that down. Yeah. That's amazing. I didn't know that. Watching him on... This is terrible. It's the new Star Wars Andor.
Yep.
As the robot on there.
Oh, that one or Rogue One? I guess they're the same character, aren't they? Because
it is the same character. Yeah.
K2SO.
So he played Rogue One as well.
I got you.
Yep. His comedic timing is ridiculous. I was watching a video of him behind the scenes on the new Superman, where he's the robot, and about his name, and he gives him his name of whatever it was, 7 or whatever. But anyways, super talented guy. So that was the only one that popped in my head.
Nice. All right, we're gonna finish out the guys here. Magus. Who did you pick for Magus? Magnus. Why did I write Magus down?
I couldn't.
Nothing? No ideas?
There's nothing really coming to my head. I couldn't think of anybody for him.
So I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm gonna do my best. It's XOLO. So Xolo Maridueña. He played Blue Beetle in the Blue Beetle movie. He also was one of the leads on Cobra Kai. So if you want to look him up, darker features. Could definitely do his own stunts. That was who I picked. So the guy that did Blue Beetle. That was him. All right. Okay. Did you have any characters picked for the ladies?
No.
You're like, I don't care. I'm not doing this. Okay. Well, here's mine then. I'll tell you mine. So for for Marl, this is definitely too old of a character, especially to be paired with Taron Egerton. But Anna Kendrick, felt like the right one for that. So Pitch Perfect, everything else, the fun redhead who's constantly getting into trouble, like that felt like Marl. That's
change your hair.
Definitely confidence, whatever. So that was that. Yep. Luca, I picked Millie Bobby Brown, 11 from Stranger Things. I thought that she looked kind of.
I don't know. That did not cross my mind. That's actually a really good pick.
Just curious, trying to figure out what's going on. And then for Isla, I picked Florence Pugh, who was White Widow, Black Widow's sister. She was on Thunderbolts.
Oh wow, okay.
She's got that ferocious and the same haircut, blonde, slick back, whatever else. So those were mine. Those are the ones that I had.
Yeah, I had done a lot of Googling, and so I didn't want to mess up my Google searching. It's
so dangerous sometimes to look like, I know, like if the FBI were to see my Google search history, like they would think something else was going on. It was like, 20-something blonde actresses, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get in trouble doing this. This is definitely dangerous. I think that's why I don't ever put children, because you don't want to search like handsome Asian boy actor, 8 years old. Like you don't want to do that. Like that's definitely not going to go over well for anybody. All right, so one more crossover question. So another one of your favorite video games is Soul Calibur. I remember we would play Tekken and Soul Calibur, and I said my goal is to beat you as bad on Soul Calibur as I do beat you on Tekken, and you said that will never happen. It will never happen. And I was like, okay, well now I have to. Anyways, Soul Calibur. Did you have a Soul Calibur story?
The gap between us on Tekken was pretty big. I'm like, it's not possible.
But yeah, I didn't beat you with like Dr. B. Like that would be impressive. Okay, so but on Soul Calibur, if we were to port over all the characters from Chrono Trigger into Soul Calibur, who are you selecting first to play as? Who are you going like that character? That's who I'm going to be.
Well, actually, in Soul Calibur, my go-to was Cervantes. So it made me think of Magus almost. Okay. Similar.
Yeah.
There's going to be some differences. Obviously, you don't have the gun and all that stuff, but the zoom through the air, flying. It'd be really interesting to see his fighting style. But I feel like there could be a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
That way, my next was Siegfried. So Frog, I feel like would kind of fit that role a little bit, especially with the mass immune. So those are the two that I was thinking like I'd be pretty excited to play as. They should totally do this, by the way.
Definitely should. The Soul Calibur even still exists. Like when was the last Soul Calibur game put out?
I think 6.
Which if you have
Dan's still playing it.
If Soul Calibur games, 6 I think is the last one. Soul Calibur 6. No, game release dates in order. If you have Soul Edge, which why they changed it after that to Soul Calibur and left it Soul Calibur, I don't know. Soul Calibur 6 came out in 2018, so that was the last one.
What?
I know.
That's crazy. I would have guessed like 3 years ago.
It's time. So if you have a Nintendo Switch 2 and you have a Nintendo Online Family Bonus whatever subscription, they've just started releasing GameCube games on there to download to play. And the GameCube Soul Calibur is on there that you can download for free to play, where you could play as Link on Soul Calibur. So you're welcome. There's only like 3 GameCube games that are on there right now. Luigi's Mansion's one of them, Soul Calibur, and I forgot what the other one was. None of the ones that I really, really wanted to play, but it is what it is.
So that's a good library.
Yeah. So I think Frog would be probably one of my go-tos. Definitely, if Lumineer was a move that you could pull off in Soul Calibur, I probably would then go straight to Chrono to see if I could go ahead and hit those 37 buttons in a row.
That'd be Dan. Dan would be Chrono for sure.
Yeah. Well, yes, because Mitsurugi was his go-to, and Chrono is definitely a Mitsurugi analog. I think Luca and Marl would be a little more difficult since they had the ranged weapons. You know what I mean? Like they have those ranged weapons that would be difficult to replicate. But yeah, cool.
Just put them in there; they'd be unstoppable.
Yes, give them other weapons. I guess I don't know. I don't even know. They can hit them with the crossbow because that's what she did when they got up close. So she would hit them with the crossbow. All right. So anything else you can talk about? Chrono Trigger. Any other highlights that you can think of?
No, we covered a lot. Yeah, definitely.
It's a great game.
There's so much. I love medieval stuff. So that whole time period, the 600 AD, I loved. You're talking about atmosphere real quick, but each time having like a real atmosphere to it. But that 600 AD, like when you get to the bridge and you see the war going on, and they have like soldiers that are like injured and all that, and you have to go get food for them. I don't know. There's something pretty special about that. You feel like something big is going on. So I enjoyed that.
Yes. Chrono Trigger is on every list of like the top SNES games. It's on every list of top JRPGs. It's on there. Like, it is an excellent game. Still fun to play. Download the app. It's available in, at least, I mean, I have an Android, so it's there. If you have Apple, I'm sure it's there too. But it's definitely a fun game. It's a fun story to follow along. We spoiled about 13% of it. Like, there is so much more that goes into the story that is good. Yeah, it's fun to play now. And if you get the app, they have, if you've played it before, and you're like, I played it before, I enjoyed it as a kid, or I enjoyed it when it came out, in the app, they have added a whole another island that you can go to with extra story that you can go through and play. And like I said, they've added in all the anime cutscenes that you can watch. But it's definitely worth picking up and playing. So cool. So Matt, you're doing art. You post on occasion on things. Where can people find pictures of your art or anything else that you want to plug that people can follow you on?
Yeah, hopefully I'll be posting more on Instagram this year. It's Matthew West Art on Instagram. It's really the only place. I'll show you real quick.
Yeah, what you got?
Started doing. I don't know if you can see it. So this was a quick sketch. Just trying to get back into it.
It makes me sick. It makes me sick when you say it's just a quick sketch and it looks like you just took a dang picture of the game. A quick sketch.
Well, this is something Pete got me, but it's the Remarkable, but like you can, it's like a tablet, so you can just like I can just sit on the couch and sketch. So this has been pretty amazing. I've been playing with that a lot. So yeah, Instagram. Hopefully this next couple months I'll start posting more.
You know, I'm really glad that technology has advanced so that now you can sit on the couch and sketch. I know that before that you had the Remarkable, it was impossible to have anything that you can sit on the couch and sketch with. So I'm really glad that we've come to that place that you can do that now.
Touche. But it takes up less space.
I know what you mean. That you can sketch and you can it's digitized. You're able to do other things with it. I get it, but it was just I get it. Listen, if I were to tell you, like right now, one of the things that I'm enjoying doing, I got a treadmill and I enjoy walking while I'm watching TV. And I know people are like, you could have just gone for a walk and looked at God's beautiful creation. Isn't that enough for you? Funny enough, I was doing a run. And I wanted to put something on TV, so I found a virtual run to put on there. So I'm just like running on a treadmill, and like scenery's moving next to me. It's really kind of funny.
That's awesome.
Oh, the world we live in, Matt. The world we live in. God's just shaking his head like, why are you running inside looking at a screen of what outside looks like? Like, go outside and run. That's what you should do. Yeah. Oh, man. Hey, I love you, bud. I'm glad you came on.
When I stop, I'm at home.
Oh, thank you for coming on, man, and talking about Chrono Trigger with me.
Yeah.
We were talking about now that we've got all the...
you're welcome. That was a lot of fun.
All the bugs figured out. Now we just have to do an episode every 3 weeks. That's what we're going to do. Every 3 weeks, pick another topic that we, whatever. Yeah, awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on. And Matthew West Art on Instagram. And we'll see him again on the next time we get a chance to do this. So thanks, bud.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode, which is my boy Casper Kimball. We're going to be talking about Lego. He is Mr. Lego, and so we're going to talk about Lego. And I'm saying Lego and not Legos because I think you're not supposed to say Legos. I think the plural of Lego is Lego, like fish and fish. But anyways, we're going to be talking about that in just a couple weeks, so subscribe so you don't miss that. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Leave a comment. If you leave a comment, I'll read the comment. I listed things that I enjoyed from 1995. Maybe you've got something you want to share, like, oh man, this right here is my favorite one from 1995. Or maybe you also play Chrono Trigger and you want to share some of your favorite bits about Chrono Trigger. Like, share it, and I will definitely read it on the show in 2 weeks. So make sure you guys do that. Leave us a comment. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us 5 stars and leave a review. That'd be excellent. Same thing on Spotify. If you head over to nextgennerd.com, you can also share any episode from there to your social media. So maybe there's another topic that you see on there. You're like, oh, love this. Check it out. In fact, my buddy Casper, who's coming on the show next time, listened to all our backed episodes on a trip that he was on, and we made his Spotify Wrapped because he listened to us for a whole day. It's like he listened to this podcast for 24 hours. So that was pretty cool. Any of that, you share anything like that, I'll share it on the show. Reviews on the different platforms, would love to do that. Remember, share something, I'll share on the show. Links to this and so much more on the show notes and are available in your podcast app at the bottom of the YouTube video or at nextgennerd.com. If you want even more Next Gen Nerd, you can find me on Instagram at nextgen_nerd or on Twitter at nextgen_nerd. That's it for this episode, so until next time.
Peace out, Seacrest!